Every government exists for the sole purpose of ensuring law and order. At all costs, the government must ensure that it secures its citizens' best general welfare and interest. Citizens, on the other hand, must also ensure that they are law-abiding, keeping to the various rules and regulations of the country as well as following government principles. A peaceful and safe nation requires the collaborative and harmonious contribution of both the citizens and government. Despite all of these, certain persons will either intentionally or subconsciously set out to violate the laws. These sets of persons pose a great threat to the collective existence of other citizens. They also threaten both global and national peace. Russia is not left out in having appropriate facilities and measures to cater to these persons. Russian prisons are traditionally classified into 4 categories, namely the pre-trial institutions, where offenders are kept and pre-trials are done before a conviction is eventually passed; the education and juvenile colonies, where children or child offenders are kept; the corrective colonies, for convicts facing 1 sentence; the prisons, for convicts faced with life imprisonment or accused of other heinous allegations. While there are many prisons and correctional facilities in Russia housing different types of notorious criminals and prisoners with a track record of unpleasant reputation. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at the Ognenny Ostrov and Black Dolphin Prison in Russia. Ognenny Ostrov Prison. The Ognenny Ostrov is a correctional facility, one widely recognized in Russia, which is situated 400 kilometers north of Moscow, on Lake Novozero. Lake Novozero is a small lake located in the Vologda region of central Russia. It is reckoned to currently house about 193 prisoners. Ognenny Ostrov was initially founded on the island in 1517 as a monastery. Still, as of present, it is known as the Correctional Colony No. 5 of the Federal Penitentiary Service Administration for the Vologda region. However, it is now home to a secured and super-maximally equipped prison housing notorious inmates and prisoners with a bad reputation. Persons who have been classified and labelled as posing a great security risk to the community and are a threat to both global and national peace have been confined to the Ognenny prisons. These inmates are tagged Vologodsky Piatak, or alternatively, Piatak. Inmates who have been considered the worst of criminals are being securely kept there. This correctional facility, since the inception of when it was converted from being used as a monastery into a prison, has always been used for very condemned and notorious inmates, and was founded by Saint Cyril, who was from Novozero. The establishment of the monastery was precipitated after he had first-hand experience with a column of fire, which gruesomely razed the island. Prominent buildings of the monastery have, over time, featured in several stories. The monastery, in 1917, was converted to a prison and correctional facility. This action came closely after the October Revolution. After the conversion, it was first used to imprison people who were considered rebels. The rebels were those who were against the October Revolution and were considered as enemies of the revolution. As time went on, between the period of the 1930s and the 1940s, it attained another use. It began to be used for keeping victims of Joseph Stalin's purges. It served as a penal colony for these victims. It didn't end there. A short while after Joseph Stalin died in 1953, it then began to be used as just a regular and normal prison. It began to house notorious inmates and prisoners with a bad reputation who were considered as having non-political linkage. With time, it was converted to be used for a more specific purpose. It then began its full operation of housing prisoners and inmates who are known for notoriety and have been sentenced to life imprisonment, or those that have been previously sentenced to death for the heinous offences committed. For those with the death sentence, good luck shined on them, and they had their death sentence commuted to life imprisonment to be served in Ognenny Ostrov. Unlike several other accounts of maltreatment of inmates and misconduct of prison officials, the Ognenny Ostrov prison facility has had little or no account of any of these allegations. The guards have been known to always respect and accord the inmates due to reverence. Their facility is also more comfortable and their activities less burdensome on prisoners. Despite these facts, the Ognjeni Ostrov remains a very secured and heavily guarded correctional facility, which is almost impossible for an escape plan. The Black Dolphin Prison, Russia. One of the oldest prisons in Russia to date is the Black Dolphin Prison. The term Black Dolphin Prison is an unofficial one, and is more known than the actual name. It got this unofficial name from a sculpture placed at the entrance of the prison that a prisoner sculpted, which depicts a black dolphin. The prison is officially known as the Federal Penitentiary Service of Russia, situated at the Orenburg region, which shares a border with Kazakhstan. It is a foremost correctional facility to have received prisoners with a life imprisonment sentence with hard labour. At present, the Black Dolphin Prison is known to be a home to about 700 prisoners, which consists of notorious inmates, prisoners with a bad reputation, inmates who breach the right to life of other humans, inmates with a track record of crime commission, prisoners who take advantage of other humans that are vulnerable, and many more. The prison has always been known to house the above-stated categories of notorious inmates and prisoners with a bad reputation. This function had served for as far back as 1745, when it housed the first set of different notorious inmates sentenced life imprisonment with hard labour, and continued afterward up until this very moment. However, in 1773, after Pugachev's rebellion was suppressed, the prison began to serve other uses. It began accommodating different categories of inmates as long as they are serving a life sentence with hard labour. The Black Dolphin Prison is carefully structured and built in a way as to properly house these categories of inmates and to withstand and foil any possible escape plan of either of the inmates. There are different cells where each prisoner is kept. These cells are strongly built with a set of 3 steel doors and several other barricades. Inmates are placed under very strict surveillance and checks. Every 24 hours, the inmates are moved to a large and open cage for an hour and 30 minutes. While in the open cage, they get to interact and exercise. Likewise, during that same period, inmates and their cells are thoroughly searched for any possible sign of an illegal item, contraband, or any harmful possession which could be used to inflict harm on self or any other inmates. The prisoners are thoroughly monitored and watched. They barely have time to wander aimlessly, sit or rest on their different bunks from the time they wake up until they go back to sleep. The inmates are fed up to 4 times a day, and there is the usual culture of a guard moving around every 15 minutes, having a quick check at inmates and ensuring they are not breaking any rules or regulations guiding their stay at the prison. For the routine 15-minute checks, a guard moves around to see if things are in order. The inmates, as when appropriate, are required to respond with a shout, "Yes, sir." The only items these inmates are freely given access to are newspapers, books, radio, and of course, food utensils at the venue where they are eating their food. The prison is so carefully guarded and constructed to prevent any escape plan whatsoever. Even when inmates are brought in for the first time, they are usually blindfolded so they won't be able to map out any blueprint of the prison. Even when the movement of inmates is within the Black Dolphin Prison from one building to another, they are still blindfolded and securely escorted with enough man-force to suppress any rebellious move or aggressiveness. While transporting the prisoners from one building to another, they are usually handcuffed with both hands to the back, while one of the guards holds the hand that is cuffed, raising it up and above the hip and waist in a way that the prisoner has no choice than to bend over. This position discards any thought of overpowering the guards and affords the guards an advantaged position, as well as preventing the prisoner from escaping. Despite the various security measures and the availability of enough workforce to keep things in order between inmates, rumours have still been peddled about how these inmates still find a way to maltreat themselves. From time to time, guards have found the inmates in possession of various contraband and illegal items. The height of it all is that there have been allegations of misconduct by guards and the prison service officials themselves who have, from time to time, maltreated prisoners. However, none of these claims have been substantially validated. Regardless of various laws and regulations, as well as the different correctional facilities, this has not stopped people from committing crimes. The penal techniques of punishment for the violation of the law have not stopped some from engaging in activities that are harmful to our collective existence. But what do you make of these Russian prisons? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.